Hello, welcome to Many Worlds. This is a podcast with Dr. Kevin Henry Villanueva, the inaugural professorial fellow in ethics and international relations in the University of the Philippines.
World politics is a game of order. The players are states. But if the players will not admit to the freedom of all the peoples in the world, not only the peoples of China, but also the peoples of Taiwan, not only the peoples of Russia, but also the peoples of the Ukraine, and not only the peoples of Israel, but also the peoples of the land of Palestine, then the order of the game that exists by states must be remade. Visible to the naked eye are the realities of interstate aggression, genocide, and the climate crisis, which is far from the proposition of an international society of states in which the great powers, through the UN Security Council, carry the burden of maintaining international peace and security. The single framework which underpins the UN as an organization is the sovereignty of states. The units of states sit side by side in peaceful coexistence. They are independent of each other by default. They coalesce when needs and opportunities arise primarily in terms of promoting economic welfare and national security. In principle, it is all accepted. In practice, it has worked for many of the mighty and for a few of the weak. On the 75th anniversary of the UN, The Economist entitled its report on the international organization, Missing in Action. A cursory glance at its history manifests the system bias of the current international order. In 1965, the Security Council expanded from 11 to 15 members. But whereas it included 22% of the General Assembly in 1945, it now has just 8%. The permanent five remained the victorious powers 80 years ago, with no representation from Latin America, Africa, or South Asia. In the meantime, this ought not to distract us from the competition for power and prestige emanating from the other regions of the world. The rivalries between African states prevent them from specifying whom they would pick to occupy a permanent seat. The group of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have failed to support each other's candidacies for permanent seats in the Security Council. China has been non-committal about India's bid for permanent membership, whereas Russia has been lukewarm towards any kind of expansion of the Security Council. All of this is according to the report. What runs afoul? In his last major work, Henry Kissinger revealed that what passes for order in our time, the Westphalian peace devised in Western Europe in the 17th century, reflected a practical accommodation to reality, not a unique moral insight. It relied on a system of independent states, refraining from interference in each other's domestic affairs, and checking each other's ambitions through a general equilibrium of power. Over the course of at least 3 centuries, therefore, the world outside of the West has tried to adapt to the expansion and the evolution of the Westphalian system. We have inherited tools that were devised to fasten a European world that between the 17th and the 18th centuries transformed from a unity to a collectivity of states. Europe, F.H. Hinsley tells us, became a unity as well as a diversity. A unity because of its diversity. What is crucial to understand, however, was not the fact that Europe began to see itself politically several, but in light of the world today, how it began to organize itself as several and rival political systems, each grouped around a great power. If we are created as equal peoples everywhere, does this present a fair and honest vision of world politics for the future? In one thing, Kissinger was right. No truly global world order has yet existed. The model for our comprehension of international relations is rooted in a world that is gone and hence from within a horizon of possibilities that belongs to the past. It is time for political imagination. If we desire to see the peoples of Taiwan, the Ukraine, and of Palestine no more than the peoples of Israel, Russia, and China free and equal in dignity, this is where it can begin. Now, what if, as rival political communities, we are grouped around each other, not around a great power? What if what we have is a society of peoples, not of states? If we see ourselves as a unity or as a collectivity of peoples, how different or unique would that be to the world we have borrowed from the past? No longer shall we be independent of each other as sovereign states. We will live with each other as peoples in togetherness. No longer shall we live with each other on the basis of conflict. We will live with each other on the basis of cooperation. In contradistinction to the principle of sovereignty, the principle of togetherness is founded on the unconditional promise to not hurt each other, to care for each other, and to protect each other. The moral and political principle of togetherness is the world of a sea of peoples. They are bound to each other not because they have rights as individuals who are strangers, but because they have responsibilities as members of a people. No less than as peoples, they have responsibilities as members of a greater humanity, in which they are not opposed to strangers, but favored as kin. I wish to claim a world governed by a humanist paradigm. The frame of our lens will not be citizenship above the state, but kinship as the common life and political culture of humanity. The field of vision is a light with 8 lampposts. It is in this direction that we shall walk for the rest of the journey. Come with me.
Thank you for listening to Many Worlds. If you would like to follow the podcast, please subscribe by clicking on the link.